All right, when I say Aussie, 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 you say oi, oi, oi. So Aussie, 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 oi, oi, oi. Aussie, 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 oi, oi, oi. Hi folks, it's Pat from Asphalt Green's Recess Enhancement Program, here again with another instructional video for one of our favorite rep games, Sun, Moon, Earth. So folks, before we hop into the instructions for the game though, we want to make sure that we are doing our safety check. So just as always, making sure that we and our students are always washing our hands before we play our game and then after we play our game as well. And we're gonna make sure that we're doing that for 20 seconds. We also want to make sure that nobody is putting their hands near their face or touching their face. And if anybody has to cough or sneeze, that they know that they just dab right into their elbow. And then as well, just making sure that throughout the entire game, everyone is standing 6 feet apart. So if everybody's ready to go, I just need you to give me 2 finger snaps and let's get started. So it seems like everyone is ready then, and we can move on into Sun, Moon, Earth. What's the name of the game? Sun, Moon, Earth. Dare I say it, folks, the game is out of this world. But seriously, it's a great game for students who are from kindergartners up through 8th grade. It's super fun for all ages. And of course, equally as important as fun though, the game is super safe. Students will be able to stay 6 feet apart, so they'll be properly social distanced. And the only equipment that will be used will be equipment that marks certain areas. So students won't need to touch anything whatsoever. So with that in mind, let's just rep it out, hop right into it, and we'll talk a little bit about how we can get ready for Sun, Moon, Earth. So in order to do that, we always want to map out our play space. So you can play Sun, Moon, Earth out on a playground, or you can play it in a gymnasium, wherever you can have a good bit of space, because we're going to be breaking up the play space into 3 distinct areas. So wherever you can have a good bit of space for students to stay apart. And then you want to lay out anything that you might need to designate those boundaries. So you can utilize the cones or tape, whatever you might have at your disposal. After that, we always want to check for any safety risks. So you can remove any items that might pose those safety risks, and you can think about how you can work around any other items that can't be moved. Once all that has been done, you can lay out the equipment for your boundaries and any other equipment that you might need. So as I said, you might want to mark off 3 different areas, so you can put a cone in each of those 3 areas to mark that area. And then once all that is done, you can gather up all the students and you can use the attention grabber that I was using at the beginning of this video, which is Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. So when I say Aussie, 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 you say oi, oi, oi. So Aussie, 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 oi, oi, oi. Aussie, 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 oi, oi, oi. Let's gather up, and everyone can go and form a line standing 6 feet apart for the game to get started. So now that you have students lined up in front of you, you can move into the explain portion of the rep model. And so what's super important, as always, making sure that we're using a loud, clear voice so all students can hear and understand us. And that while we're going through the instructions of the game, it's super important to ask students specific questions. So some that we might ask you to ask might be, where do you go and what do you do when you hear moon? Where do you go and what do you do when you hear earth? Where do you go and what do you do when you hear sun? And that'll make more sense as we explain the rules. So I'm gonna go through those instructions and you can follow along on your copy of the instructions that you found on our website, okay? 2 thumbs up if you're ready to go. So everyone is ready and standing 6 feet apart, which is fantastic. You can explain to your students that they will be listening to you. You will be the leader. And that there are 3 distinct areas marked off by 3 different cones. And again, we'll want to make sure that those areas are big enough for students to be socially distanced because they'll be moving to those cones. So you can explain that one area will be the sun area, one area will be the moon area, and another area will be the earth area. And that whenever you give a command, so sun, moon, or earth, they're going to head to that area and do a specific type of motion. So if they are going to head to the sun area, they will run to the sun area, all right? If they head to the moon area, they're going to hop on 2 feet to the moon area. And if they hear earth, they're going to head to the earth area and walk there, okay? And again, it's super important for them to stay 6 feet apart, so consistently reminding them that that's what they'll be doing. And then if they make a mistake, you can explain to them that they're going to be doing 5 seconds of silly dancing, 5 jumping jacks, or 5 squats. The whole point of the game is to be listening up and to be heading to the correct area while doing the correct motion, okay? So those are the instructions for Sun, Moon, Earth. So how about we move into the P portion of the rep model and talk a little bit about how we can play the game so that students are abiding by the rules, and also how we can play it so that we can keep it fun and fresh for students. One of the things that we would suggest for you to do is to have students practice their movements and motions, right? So students can run in place at the start, and then you can have them practice their movements to each area. So, running to the sun, hopping on 2 feet to the moon, and walking to the earth. It's a great way to see kind of where students are at and whether you have to modify any of the movements so that students are remaining 6 feet apart from one another, okay? And then what you can do as the leader is just throughout the game, make sure that you're being super rapid with the commands. Of course, you want to start and make sure that students are comfortable with each of the movements and motions. But once that's happened, to keep the game interesting and to get kids active, you want to make sure that you're being super, super rapid with your commands. So rather than sun, moon, earth, you can say sun, moon, moon, earth, sun. That way, you get kids moving, and you can also try and trick them so that they're doing even more activity. It's a great way, again, to increase the activity level, but also to engage students and keep it fun for them. If you're finding it hard for a student to engage, though, maybe you can offer them the opportunity to be the leader, and you can step back. That way, that student can practice their leadership skills, but they're also engaged in the game. And if all the students are engaged in the game, again, it's just a great way to get students practicing those leadership skills. And then also as well, to keep things a little bit interesting, you can modify the different movements and motions that students have to do when they're heading to each area. So rather than hop on 2 feet, maybe they have to hop on 1 foot to the moon, right? Rather than walk to the earth, maybe they have to zombie walk to the earth. You can modify the movements based on the level of activity that you want students to be at. So you can make things maybe in the middle, you want kids to be moving really fast, so you can modify those movements, and maybe at the end, you want everything to kind of cool down, so you can move everything into a slower movement or slow motion, okay? So those are our tips for you. So if we want to just gather up one more time, and we'll close this thing out. So when I say Aussie, 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 you say oi, oi, oi. So Aussie, 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 oi, 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 Aussie, 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 oi, oi, oi. Let's bring it in and stay 6 feet apart from one another. So folks, that concludes our video for Sun, Moon, Earth. Hope you found it useful, and I hope that you have lots of fun playing it with your students. Stay tuned for more videos, for tips and new games from Rep. But until then, we'll catch you later.